Hi, and welcome to the Candice Malcolm Show. I'm your host, Candice Malcolm. Wow, what a weekend, folks. We have so much news to get to. And wow, things are just happening so fast here. So as you saw on Saturday night, Donald Trump did what he said he was going to do. Trump introduced tariffs on Canadian goods. So 10% on oil, 25% on everything else. That means that anything made in Canada and sold into the United States will face a new 25% tax. The tax will be paid by American consumers. But by design, the new high tax will make our Canadian products less competitive, more or less forcing Americans to purchase other products made in the USA. That means that anything produced in Canada will no longer have access to the free market to sell in the US, to the American market. Now, make no mistake, this will be absolutely devastating. Canadian exports into the United States make up about 19% of our entire economy. It's about $440 billion per year. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who, let me remind you, if you need reminding, he resigned on January 6th. And he has no business leading this negotiation. But because we haven't had an election, we're stuck with him. And he has reacted in kind. He announced on Saturday night that Canada will introduce our own 25% tariffs on American goods. Now, again, let's be clear. This is a 25% tax paid by Canadians on goods imported from the United States into Canada. That's about 44% of all imports which come from the United States. So Trump's tariffs mean that Canadian businesses will go bankrupt and Canadians will lose jobs. But these retaliatory Canadian tariffs introduced by Justin Trudeau will mean that the price of absolutely everything in our country is about to go up once again. So yes, on top of the GST, the HST, on top of the carbon tax, and on top of the inflationary tax brought on by big government spending, borrowing, and the printing of money, Canadians will now pay an additional 25% tax on most goods sold in Canada. Folks, this will bankrupt millions of Canadians. It will plunge our struggling loonie even lower, and it will create, undoubtedly, it will create a recession. Trudeau has destroyed Canada, and now on his way out, he's pouring gasoline onto a raging fire. Now, equally as infuriating to Trudeau's retaliatory tariff tax is the fact that the new tax is being cheered on and applauded by the entire political class, Laurentian elites and Canadians alike. There's a weird consensus in Canadian politics right now that Trump is a villain, that Trudeau struck the right tone in his Saturday evening address, and that retaliatory tariffs are the only option. Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, Pierre Poilievre, Doug Ford, and just about every pundit and journalist in the legacy media all agree. Well, unfortunately for Canada, they are all wrong. A trade war will destroy every Canadian. It will destroy our country. As much as it hurts, as much disdain as we may have for Donald Trump or believe that he is a bully, the only way to save Canada is to find a way to negotiate a deal with Donald Trump. The whole concept of bullies only respond to strength or that we need to fight fire with fire is wrong in this instance. Trump is a 500-pound gorilla. If you provoke him, he will tear you apart limb by limb. We've seen this movie before. Trump will double and triple down. He will introduce more and more tariffs. Look, Donald Trump has a sweeping mandate in his country right now. Americans want the border secured, and they want to make better economic deals to keep American jobs. That's the reality. And this is where Trudeau's strategy from day one, from the day that Donald Trump won the election, has been absolutely catastrophic. Remember, Trump first commented on the tariffs in late November. Right after that, Justin Trudeau hopped on a plane to visit Trump at his residence in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. But things didn't go very well for Trudeau. It seems that Trudeau angered Trump. He provoked him. He poked the proverbial bear. And perhaps most damagingly of all, Justin Trudeau told Trump that a 25% tariff would kill the Canadian economy. That is what Trump said, that Trudeau told him, that it would kill our economy and kill our country. Here is Fox News' Peter Doocy reporting at the time.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy. Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
So why would Justin Trudeau say that? Why would he tell Trump Canada's greatest weakness? It seems to me that as soon as Trudeau put that idea into Trump's head, that Canada can't survive as an economy or as a country without America, well, Trump decided to test the theory. Now, that interaction between Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau led to Justin Trudeau more or less firing his finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, who then resigned a few days later, and a few days after that, Justin Trudeau himself resigned. Trudeau got us into this mess, and he sure won't be the one to get us out of it. So now he's cynically digging in his feet and destroying our entire economy and our country and our place in the world just to try to win back support for his Liberal Party. It makes me sick. Well, Trump said that if Canada retaliates with our own tariffs, then so will America. It's right there in black and white in Trump's executive order on trade. So here we are with a crippled economy waiting for the final death blow from Trump. Okay, so what should Canada do? Well, let me tell you what I would do. First, I would lock down the borders. I would close immigration entirely, and I would start swiftly deporting anybody in our country illegally, anyone in our country that is on a terror watch list, and any foreigner convicted in the drug trade. We have to take this seriously. We need to secure our border, secure our country, get the bad guys out. Second, I would stop all drugs coming and going from Canada. We would relentlessly go after those making the drugs, moving the drugs, those importing and exporting the drugs across our shared border with the United States. Canada needs to arrest, prosecute, and deport any foreign criminals. And number three, we need to crack down on regime-sponsored criminal gangs in Canada, including Chinese, Sikh, Mexican, Iranian, and any other foreign gangs operating in Canada. We need to beef up our law enforcement and go hard against criminals. We need to clean up our country. And then after that, yes, there is an opportunity, as Pierre Poilievre has been advocating for, to truly free our economy and start to recover from the 10 disastrous Trudeau years. This was, again, suggested by Pierre Poilievre. So what do we have to do? First, break down interprovincial trade barriers and truly free up our country. Number two, we need to open up our oil exports by building pipelines, terminals, seaports, and allowing our oil to get to other markets. Number three, we need to massively lower taxes and make Canada more competitive. Finally, we need to rebuild our military, finally hit that 2% of GDP goal. It is long overdue. It is embarrassing. Canada needs to build up its military. And now, when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump, I believe that Pierre Poilievre should jump on an airplane to Washington yesterday. He should do it as soon as possible. He should do it now to meet with President Donald Trump. He hasn't done it so far. I get that there's some risk, but I think that Pierre Poilievre has to do it. He has to try to negotiate a better deal. So here is how Canada's Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, can avert disaster, save Canada, and get an early election at the same time. So look, on Saturday night, during his speech, Justin Trudeau said he admitted that Donald Trump will not take his calls. Trump is done with Trudeau. I don't blame him. As far as I'm concerned, as far as most people is concerned, Trudeau is on the way out. He should be treated as irrelevant. Remember, he resigned. Usually when you resign, it means you leave. But Trudeau didn't leave. Instead, he prorogued Parliament so his own party could rebuild. This is anti-democratic. It makes Trudeau illegitimate in the eyes of many, including presumably Donald Trump. Now, the country is on a knife's edge, and Trudeau, with the full backing of Canada's corrupted media and the Laurentian elites, is betraying Canada's best interest. Poilievre should hop on the plane and tell Trump these important facts. He should plead with Trump. He should tell Trump to please wait. Wait until Justin Trudeau leaves. Wait until there's an election. Trudeau is on his way out. He is loathed and despised by many Canadians, and he is no longer legitimate. Poilievre should assure Donald Trump that on March 24th, Parliament will come back and the Liberals will lose a confidence vote, triggering an election. At that point, Pierre Poilievre is projected to win a sweeping majority. And by May 2025, God willing, Poilievre will be the prime minister and in a position to strike the better deal. Poilievre should tell Trump that his first priority in government will be to return Canada to having strict immigration rules, securing the border, and introducing the harshest penalties in the world against drug dealers and criminal enterprises, and also commit to growing our military to help protect the North and contribute our share to securing the hemisphere. Now, Poilievre can strike a new deal with Trump. It would look something like this. Wait for the election. Pierre Poilievre wins. Give us 90 days to fix this mess. If Poilievre can fix it, then no tariffs. Now, if Poilievre loses the election and it remains to be Liberal rule, or if Poilievre fails to fix the mess, then Trump can introduce the tariffs as planned. Now, could you imagine what this would do? Imagine the possible upside for Poilievre. If Trump were to come out and say, okay, I'll pause the tariffs until there is an election in Canada, let the democratic process play out. That would force Trudeau to actually walk away and actually have an election, which is what we all want. Pierre Poilievre would go down in history as the most successful prime minister-elect in history by saving the country from an economic disaster, a calamity of a trade war, before he was ever even elected. Look, I think it would work, and that is what I think Poilievre should do.